Welcome to the Tech Playbook, where we dive inside the stack. This is where we explore how products are built, how teams work, and the systems and decisions that power modern technology. Today, we're going to decode the cloud by breaking down three of its most confusing acronyms: IaaS, PaaS, and SaaS. Let's get right into it.
So, if you've ever felt like you're drowning in the sea of tech jargon, trust me, you are not alone. Iaas, Paas, Saas, they sound really complicated, but they're just different answers to a single fundamental question. What's the best way to build, manage, and deliver a service online? Don't think of them as competing products, but more like different levels of service you can choose from.
And to make this super clear, we're going to use one of the absolute best analogies in tech: pizza as a service. Yeah, you heard that right. It's a simple, powerful, and honestly, a delicious way to understand exactly what you're getting with each cloud model. Let's break it down.
Okay, so this maps directly to how IT is managed. First up, you've got homemade. In the tech world, that's like an on-prem setup. You buy the flour, the cheese, the toppings, you've got the oven, the electricity, the table. You're responsible for literally everything. Next is take and bake, where a shop gives you a prepared pizza, but you take it home and bake it in your own oven. Then there's pizza delivery, right? A fully cooked pizza shows up, but you still need to provide the plates and drinks. And finally, dining out, where you just show up, sit down, and everything is handled for you. Keep these four levels in your head.
So, how does this whole pizza thing actually connect to technology? Well, each of those scenarios we just walked through maps directly to a cloud service model, and this is where it all starts to click.
First up is Iaas, or InfrastructureAsAService. This is our take-and-bake pizza. The cloud provider gives you the raw computing ingredients, the servers, the storage, the networking, but you're responsible for everything on top of that. You've got to install the operating system, manage the software, and run your applications. From a business standpoint, this means you get maximum control, but it also means you need a skilled tech team to manage it all.
And you can see the big players in the IaaS space right here. When you hear about companies renting virtual machines from Amazon's EC2, or using Azure or Google Compute Engine, that's IaaS in action. It lets them scale their hardware infrastructure whenever they want, without having to buy and maintain these massive physical data centers.
Next up, we've got Paas, or PlatformAsAService. This is our pizza delivery. Here, the provider manages not just the servers and storage, but also the operating system, the databases, and all the development tools. This creates a ready-made environment where developers can focus on just one thing: building and running their applications. For a business, this is huge. It drastically speeds up the time it takes to get a product to market.
And you'll find some great examples of Paas in services like Heroku or AWS Elastic Beanstalk. Developers absolutely love them because they streamline the whole process. You basically just upload your code, and the platform handles all the deployment, scaling, and management. It's all about making developers more efficient. And finally, we have SaaS, or Software as a Service. This is our dining out experience, and it's the model most of us are using every single day, probably without even thinking about it. With SaaS, you get a complete, ready-to-use software application delivered right through your web browser. You don't manage anything, not the software, not the servers, nothing. You just log in and use it. Just think about the apps you use all the time: Gmail, Slack, Dropbox, Salesforce. These are all perfect examples of SaaS. You just pay a subscription, and the provider handles all the updates, security, and maintenance. For a business, this means predictable costs and zero IT headache for that service. It's the ultimate inconvenience.
So, the most crucial point here is understanding the trade-off. As you move from one model to the next, the balance of what you manage versus what the provider manages, it changes dramatically. And in the cloud security world, this has a formal name: the shared responsibility model. Let's look at this table. With IaaS, the split is pretty even. The provider manages the physical stuff while you handle everything from the operating system on up. When you move to Paas, the provider takes on more responsibility, managing the runtime and OS, leaving you to focus on your application and your data. And then finally, with SaaS, the provider manages pretty much everything. Your main job is just using the software correctly.
So it all boils down to this really fundamental trade-off. IaaS gives you the highest level of control and flexibility over your environment. You can configure it exactly the way you want. But that control comes with the highest level of responsibility. On the other end of the spectrum, you have SaaS, which offers the ultimate convenience with the lowest responsibility, but you get very little control over how it's all set up.
Okay, I think you're getting it. But let's put that new knowledge to the test, shall we? We've got a quick quiz to see if you can apply these concepts.
All right, here's the scenario. A small business, no IT department, needs accounting software that just works, right out of the box. So which model is the best fit? Iaas, Paas, or Saas? Take a second to think about it, and write your answer to the question below in the comments.
And the answer is Saas. Of course it is. They need a fully functional, ready-to-use application with zero maintenance or technical management. That is the very definition of software as a service. It's the dining out option, the simplest, most convenient solution for what they need.
Now here's a really important takeaway. Companies don't just pick one of these and stick with it for everything. A modern business will almost always use a mix. For instance, they might use IaaS from AWS to host their core infrastructure, use a Paas like Heroku to develop a new custom app, and then use a Saas like Google Workspace for all their company email. It's all about using the right tool for the right job.
And that really leaves us with a final, thought-provoking question. See, this isn't just about technology. It's about strategy. Every choice we make, from the software we use to the platforms we build on, really just comes down to finding that right balance between the convenience of having things done for us and the power that comes from having direct control. Where do you think that balance lies?
And that's our breakdown of Iaas, Paas, and Saas. Hopefully that whole alphabet soup is looking a whole lot clearer now.
Thanks for tuning in to this episode brought to you by the Tech Playbook Inside the Stack. Like, comment, and subscribe for clear, practical tech education. This is the Tech Playbook, and you're inside the stack.